Oh, baby, oh, baby, oh, baby. Good morning to everybody out there getting ready for Thanksgiving holiday. Good morning to YouTube and Twitch, powered by First NorCal Credit Union. Good morning to everybody getting off their graveyard shift. If you're at work, what is happening? We appreciate you all the garbage truck workers, all the janitors, carpenters, union workers, you know it, teachers, students, cops, highway patrol, SFPD, Oakland PD, Burlingame PD, Santa Clara PD. Seeing all you guys. Random dude yesterday walking up the street, she asked me up 10th Street. I had to get my brakes fixed. Just yells out the car, Bonte, I freaking love you, man. I love the roast. I love the roast. And I was like, man, that really felt good. He was an old white guy getting on the freeway, man, so you know who you are. People. Yeah, well, he knows people.
By the way, Brianna is very popular amongst my friend group.
Why is she popular?
They love those drops.
I'm fashionable.
That one.
So I did slide in the DMs to say hi.
That one.
Does
I know people.
That one might be my favorite one.
Oh, boy. Why y'all do it? Her follower count, too. She's got over 96,000 followers. So
I'm going to leave that one alone. Here's what I will say.
Love to see who follows.
Here's what I will say. We're going to talk to Anthony Slater. We're going to do a little bit of Warrior talk. But I'm letting everyone know right now. Today is a day that was made for me. I was a real butcher for many, 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 many years. You can ask me anything when it comes to the culinary space of Thanksgiving. Anything you want. Prep. You want to learn about a meal. You have meat questions, whatever it is.
Sausage.
You want to power rank certain foods? We could do that too.
Sausage?
Oh, yeah. Dog, if you don't have sausage ready for the Friday after when you're having a big family event, you're not doing it right. I'm telling you right now, ask your butcher, line them up, 888-957-9570. It's your segment. You have an opportunity to walk up to the meat counter and ask your butcher any question you want.
Yay! Also, YouTube, Twitch, powered by First NorCal Credit Union, Comcast Business Text Line. I wanted to shout out to the strippers as well, because the holiday season is also giving for them. The APEC event was just here. Hey, you know.
Was it the Apex?
Well,
I'm a little. I was a little in shock.
Hey, listen, listen. You know they made a killing. Probably bought some new condos. Definitely some new Gucci purses and Louis Vuittons. Anyway, let's get to Anthony Slater. Anthony Slater, our 95.7 The Game NBA insider. This is not television, Bonte, Anthony Slater. This is radio version, and hopefully the television people aren't listening right now. How you doing, Anthony?
Well, I'm doing great. I don't know what's about to come in my direction after that comment.
Well, we're not going to get your top 5 stripper rating or stripper names.
You can't ask your butcher anything.
Okay, you're speaking of what came before. I would agree.
Yeah,
I hope your producer.
We're not going to, you know, Lubman had his rankings, and Shasky had his rankings. They're going like Diamond, Crystal, Porsche, and all that, Mercedes. Anyway,
Peaches.
Warriors.
Welcome Peaches to the stage.
Anyway.
Unlimited possibilities.
Hey, Anthony, it's okay. You're getting paid for this, Anthony. It's all good. The Warriors are down in Phoenix here. And a lot of people are talking about Klay and Wiggins and Klay. So I guess we'll just start there. Klay and Wiggins. Let's start with Wiggins. I've been encouraged over his last 4 games. Anthony, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I would go back further than that. I mean, we talked, 2 weeks ago, and it was like, hey, he's like trying to get offensive rebounds again. He's like being active defensively. Now, at the time, he was still, shooting mid-range jumpers off the side of the backboard, basically. I mean, like the offense was so cold at that point. His handle felt kind of broken, and he snapped out of it a little bit. And I will say, just being kind of around him, he's been pretty focused on like trying to rediscover some type of offensive groove. And I think the handle is a big deal with him. He loves that little, those little small moves that get to his little mid-ranger. But I remember in the Thunder game that they ended up losing, when he hit those 2 mid-rangers mid-game, I think it was like mid-third. It felt like he felt like he was in a rhythm again. Then he hits the 4 fourth quarter threes. I'm hesitant to say he's like back. I don't think he's just suddenly going to go on some crazy surge right now offensively. But you feel a lot better about him lining up an open 3 than you did last week, right?
No doubt. 5 of 37 going into Saturday night. Hits 5 of 8 against OKC. Then yesterday, or 2 days ago, goes 2 of 3 against the Rockets. 3-point shot looks a lot better. Now, Klay Thompson, 5 of his 11 full seasons, he has shot 41% or less in the first month of the season. Last season, he shot 35% of the first month. He's a career 46% shooter. We know about the slow start he's off to. But he does look different. There's no doubt. He's a lot older, a couple years removed from the leg injuries, but he's not moving the same. What do you make of Klay Thompson so far to start this season?
Those were some TV stats right there. That's a graphic.
You like
That's
that?
a graphic.
You like that? You like that? I'm tapped in, Anthony, like you.
There you go. I would say I'm curious how his next month goes, because if you look back last year, it was kind of some crazy symmetry, but he was 36% all the way up until November 20th. 36% overall, like 32% from three, something like that. Not only bad efficiency, but he was like hijacking the offense. You guys remember the Phoenix game where the shot selection became such a problem. Draymond Green's throwing his hands in the air. They have to have a team meeting, all that. Basically having the same conversation they're having now, which is like, don't go get your offense. Let the offense flow to you. Be patient. But November 20th last year against the Rockets, he makes 10 threes, scores 41 points. His season kind of takes off from there. Go look at his December, January numbers. Obviously, he ends up leading the NBA in threes. I'm not saying that is coming, and certainly he didn't hit 10 threes and score 41 points the other night, but on November 20th against the Rockets, he looked better. He stayed patient. He hit some shots. He scored 20 points for the first time this season. Maybe he's hitting a little bit of a resurgence. The one thing about Klay, like, I do think he's going to shoot 40% from three, right? Because as you mentioned, like, that is him. He shoots 40% from three. I thought he was going to do that until he's 38 years old. He just has to take the right shots. They're trying to get him to take the right shots. We'll see if it continues.
All right, so I'm looking at this team, right, at preseason, and I had a flow chart of success and failure, right? And on the success side, it was like, oh, yeah, Chris Paul will be a contributor and whatever. If they fail, Chris doesn't accept his role. He doesn't do well. Like, Chris has been outstanding, absolutely outstanding. I thought if things weren't going well early in the year, he would be the ire of Warrior fans' hatred, and that's not the case. Can't you make the argument he's been the second best player through 15 games?
First of all, Shaska, are you like making a flow chart in August? Like when you know the roster's complete, are you just
well, I look at it this way. Anthony, I look at it this way. Flow charts. I know how fans work, right? If the Warriors struggle, who are we pinning it on, right? Like, that's how it works in these situations.
Fans always have to have a scapegoat,
exactly.
Anthony.
For example, the San Francisco Giants struggled. Pin it on Gabe Kapler. Like, now look at the roster. Pin it on Kapler. So I'm looking at
the Giants flow chart. You don't want to.
Yeah, the Giants flow chart.
Let's not talk Giants right now.
It's a mess. But like, I'm looking at the Warrior flow chart. I'm like, okay, success. Kuminga takes a step forward. Wiggins is really good, and Klay regains the magic, and Steph's awesome, and CP3 buys in, and Draymond's a better version of himself. Like, almost none of those things has happened except Steph being really good and CP3 being excellent. And then, like, all these other problems, like Kuminga up and down, Klay inconsistent, Wiggins inconsistent. Like, I'm just shocked that CP3 is as good as he is and everything else isn't as good.
Yeah, no, he's been really good. I mean, honestly, my bigger concern with him, I think people overrated, like, oh, he had a down year and he was like, the career was declining last year. When he was healthy, he was pretty good in Phoenix,
I know.
I would say the scoring has kind of eroded a little bit, and you saw that early in the season, but he's kind of starting to hit jumpers now. And when he hits jumpers, like, he's still like a pretty high level player. Obviously, the assist, the turnover, he's slowed them down somewhat, which I still think they're trying to, find the proper balance of remaining like a kind of a frantic paced flowing team while still having that Chris Paul, authoritarianism type, offensive, style. So, but you really cannot complain about him on or off the court. He's been great. To your point, I don't think it's gone like haywire everywhere else. I actually really like this team's depth. When Steve Kerr talks about, hey, look, we have 12 legit rotation guys, I agree in the sense of like both rookies look ready, right? We can all agree about that. Podziemski, Jackson Davis, Moses Moody, they need to play him more minutes. Dario Saric has been a great addition. They feel deeper. I think the bigger problem is the starting lineup just has not worked together because Klay and Wiggins' offense has been so off. And when their offense is so off, suddenly Looney becomes more unplayable in certain lineups because it's like the floor isn't spaced. He needs the floor spaced. And it's really just like this, the starters and those veterans we're talking about has created awkward scenarios where, you can't necessarily play Moody over Klay for obvious reasons, but it's that's felt like a little bit more of a thornier problem. So, yeah, I mean,
what are the obvious reasons?
Yeah. I mean, he's Klay Thompson. Like Steve Kerr mentioned it the other night, like there is a patience you have to have with what he's been and what he can still do for this team. And the fact that they want a championship ceiling and the belief is Klay Thompson, as he did 2 years ago post-injury, so this isn't just a pre-injury thing, like he was a massive part of their championship run. And when you are a massive part of 4 championship runs, and you have shown to even in an older state matter not only to winning basketball, but also like locally, just from a legend perspective. Like, do you guys think Klay Thompson's earned a long leash?
I do, but I'll speak for myself. I don't know if you listen to the show, Anthony.
I mean,
we've traded him, we've cut him. I'm saying as a whole on the show when it comes to our callers and our texters, I think there is a patience. Again, he starts off slowly, and I get that he's a lot older, but when he is wide open, I do want to see him in lineups more with Sarge and Chris Paul, because I think
what I would
create for him.
Yes.
And I don't know if the start works anymore for him, because Draymond and Looney, we know what they're about offensively. So the court is compromised a bit there, Anthony, right?
Yes, for sure. And, they're trying to figure out lineup combinations, and, maybe Steve Kerr goes over the top with this experimentation early in the season on, how many lineup combinations and data they're trying to gather. So I agree with, I think there's ways to put him in better positions, and there's certainly ways for Klay to be better, which, they talked about the other night. But at the same time, I think the bigger picture to what we were talking about is, like, this summer they doubled down on their core, which they were pretty transparent. Like, not only does Steph Curry deserve to go at it a few more times, but Draymond Green was back on a 4-year deal. They want to bring Klay Thompson back long term. Like, they just believe this dynasty core has earned the right to go get titles. And when you do that, you can't just pivot off Klay Thompson 13 games into the season. And so that's just not what they're doing. That's not what Steve Kerr will do. And I know it frustrates fans at times. And maybe you turn into the Giants. Maybe you're getting, crazy Giants, PTSD or whatever right now, because they probably held on to some guys too long, right?
Right.
But sometimes you just kind of earn that with your past, and Klay Thompson has.
Go back to Chris Paul for a second. He was talking about .5 basketball in the post-game presser. He talked about it with Mully and I on the post-game show at NBC Sports Bay Area. Is he able to play .5 basketball? Is he able to pick up the pace without being worried about him possibly breaking down? Because that's been the one knock on Chris Paul, is he does wear down at times with all the minutes that he plays, and he's been in this league forever.
Yeah, and he's always been like a 30-plus minute per game guy, and I don't know if you noticed it the other night, but Cal Kami asked him post-game, like, hey, you played 34 tonight, which, like, that's a lot this season. They're keeping him in, like, the mid-20s, and he was like, yeah, absolutely. Like, let's do it again. Let's do it every night, because that's just Chris Paul.
Right.
His belief that, he at least physically can start every night, can play 35-plus minutes every night, just like he's 24 years old. But I do think they're attempting to not only throttle him in the 20s, but they got to win some games for the sole reason, like, they got to get these guys maybe some rest nights at some point mid-season when we get to, January, February. So they can't just be on an every night basis, like, fighting to get in the play-in, although it seems like that's the direction they're going. And that is kind of the concern, right? When they got off to the 6-2 start, it was like, all right, they're doing what they need to do. They're getting the cushion. They're going to be able to handle some rough stretches or some rest nights or some minor injuries. Chris Paul tweaks something. Sure, let him sit 2 weeks. I don't know that they have that luxury. I'm not sure they're going to have that luxury, considering what the standings are going to look like.
Anthony Slater here on the Morning Roast on 95.7 The Game. Anthony, quick ones for you here. Jonathan Kuminga. I think there's some numbers out there where when he's on the perimeter, he's not a good player. It's just not. He's turning the ball over. He doesn't make right decisions. But when he's on the block and he attacks the rim and he faces up, he's a lot better. Are the Warriors making it a point, Steve Kerr and company, to just keep him on the block or kind of tweak the system for him when he comes off the bench? Because when he's on the block, he looks like a very capable NBA player who can do whatever he wants to do. And when he's on the perimeter, we saw it against Oklahoma City, a couple turnovers, kind of throws the ball around. What's your deal? What's the deal with that and the coaching staff when it comes to Kuminga and his offense?
Well, yeah, I would categorize it a little bit differently. I'd say they believe he at this stage of his career can be a very good play finisher. Right. Score off others, cut, dunker spot, baseline, get out in transition, run the wing, catch and finish, dive on a pick and roll, but a play starter is the thing you're talking about, where it's go get your mid range, go to get your three, try to make a play for others, make a cross court pass that gets picked off going the other way. He is turnover prone when he's just trying to be a two-way all-star wing type guy. And the balance and the difficulty, I think, with the Kuminga experience through 3 years is like he believes long-term he can be that, give him the ball, let him run an offense type guy. And, that they drafted him 7th overall. I think they do think he may have that talent long term. And for guys that have that talent long term, they need to explore that early in their career. They usually get to explore that on bad teams. We've had this conversation before, but I do think that's the balance. Whereas, particularly this season, they're trying to show trust in him, and part of the trust in him is allowing him to make his own decisions on the court. But sometimes he does, in the Oklahoma City game, he was part of that horrible third quarter stretch where he had 2 really bad turnovers, and that changes the game. And it's like, that's why sometimes his playing time's lower than it should be, where if you could just program him in robotically, like just go out on the court and play finish, then he would be, I think, a better weapon for this team. But it's simple to say, very hard to do.
Right. No doubt about that. Kevin Durant, he's played at an all-time level, 31, 7, and 6 on the season. Last night he played 36, 37 minutes, but he's still playing at a high level. But I got to ask a question because we're talking about the Seahawks, Anthony. You're a big football fan. We talk football all the time. Yeah, well, we're talking, and Shasky says, rivalry. I can't stand Seattle. I don't respect anything about their organization. That's just how I'm wired.
Wow.
Shasky, he respects Pete Carroll. And he's probably in the right here to respect Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll's done a lot of good for the game of football. But you as a Dolphins fan, how'd you feel about the 90s Buffalo Bills?
My brother was a Bills fan. It was weird.
What the hell was going on in your house?
So, I mean, to be honest with you, I'm maybe younger than viewers think. So, we're talking like, what years were the Bills in the Super Bowl exactly?
91.
92, 93, 94.
Yep.
Yeah, so I was 2, 3, 4 years old. So to be honest with you, I did not have like hardcore opinions. I was just trying to, learn how to eat. And
Marv Levy sucks.
Yeah, you don't know. Thurman Thomas is overrated.
Well, he did lose his helmet for national anthem, and it ended up costing them against Washington.
First drive.
But I do not. I'll tell you this: I don't really like the Josh Allen Bills. I'll tell you that. not a big fan of them. So,
there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. My guy Shasky over here showed too much love to Seattle, man. It's like you, Anthony, showing love to the Oklahoma Sooners.
It's what happens. You get older, right, Anthony?
That's another household problem that I got. Bedlam house divided. So I feel you. I didn't know that was going on. I mean, he's just loving on the Seahawks all week.
No, I respect Pete Carroll, right? Like, the older I get, the more I see myself when I'm coaching, and I'm like, Pete has a lot of Shasky tendencies, and Shasky has a lot of Pete tendencies as I go third person.
There you go. So you were on the Pete Carroll side of the Russell Wilson beef or whatever you want to call it? I hate
Russell Wilson. I just think he's disingenuous. He's a phony. I don't like phonies.
Well, there you go. I got y'all on some subjects here.
Yeah,
there you go, Anthony. That's why
your favorite dish. Your favorite dish Thanksgiving. What is it?
Oh, I mean, I'm kind of like a mashed potatoes guy. There you go.
You like exasperated right there, Anthony. It's like he wasn't even sure. He's like, I don't even care about Thanksgiving.
Well, I don't know. I feel like I like Thanksgiving. I like watching the football. I eat a meal. I'm not an obsessive. I'll say that. I'm definitely not going to sit here and debate cranberry sauce over this or that, which I feel like might be coming from Shasky's side. He might be ready to kill my opinion that mashed potatoes are good.
You damn right about that. Go ahead, Shasky. Let him.
No, I love potatoes. Scallop potatoes. I love mashed potatoes. I love all potatoes. I'm Irish, Monte. We love potatoes. I have no problem with potatoes.
I mean, Russians love potatoes.
It's a veggie
too.
And a starch.
I think we all love potatoes.
Best part of Thanksgiving, no NBA games. Oh, I can chill at the house. So there you go.
There you go. You're in Phoenix right now, right?
I'm actually doing the fly day up, so I haven't flown out yet.
Oh, nice.
Good for you.
Nice. Good stuff, man. Anthony,
hit the Top Golf up in Arizona. Have some fun.
I don't think he has time for that.
Throw a couple back.
Will not have time for that.
Yeah, he's in and out. What is it, Sky Harbor International Airport?
It is Sky Harbor.
Yeah, Sky Harbor.
And then you got to walk hella far to go get it rental.
Yeah, but you know what? I love Phoenix.
Near downtown, though. It's near downtown.
Yeah, I agree. Actually, the stadium, I went there for the Game 6 against Denver. It's a cool little stadium. It's old, but it's nice.
Yeah, they've renovated it a little. And not one of my favorites, to be honest.
Yeah.
Anthony knows stadiums. He knows stadiums.
Yeah, he does.
He's been every one of them. Anthony,
field houses and arenas.
Happy Thanksgiving, Anthony. We'll see you Friday. All right, we'll look for your coverage tonight, and of course, we'll see you Friday at Chase Center.
All right, y'all.
See ya.
All right, man. Anthony Slater here on the Morning Roast on 95.7 The Game. NBA Insider. He's a mashed potatoes guy.